their apology, they can shove their apology up their end.
Hemi Panarin definitely looked like he got his mojo back. He got an assist.
I was wrong. Big.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to a special episode of Big Apple Hockey, where we are just unbelievable after the way this game ended. And we got the guys from Ranger Central down below, but it wouldn't be the final buzzer without the host, Mr. John Volkowski.
Rangerland, Rangerstown, how are we feeling right now? Because I tell you right now, I don't know how the hell I'm going to go to sleep. This is the perfect time to go live. This is a perfect time to talk hockey. Let's get down to business. We got our boys from Ranger Central, Matt and Evan, on with us. As you can see, Evan is on the road, if you will, in a way. Transportation E, as we call him. And Matty, Mr. Rally Bucket himself. And
the Rally
thank
Bucket.
God that's a Bauer bucket, because I would have given you so much shit if that was anything other than a Bauer bucket.
Nah, listen, can't go wrong. Listen, the Rally cap is cool. The Rally bucket's special. Can't go wrong with the good old Rally bucket. I mean, let's go. Up 2-0. Trocheck with the big goal. Listen, still take it game by game, but if they could find a way to split in Carolina, it's big. Big.
I think I may agree with Big Daddy. I think soiling ourselves is probably
that's what I was laughing at.
Well, I was definitely doing some screaming.
I love this comment here from Matador. Can we officially label all the Lafrenière critics as busts? I want to get Johnny Lazzy back on here just for that purpose, because Lazzy would go nuts with the whole Lafrenière discourse tonight after those 2 goals.
I'll put my hand up on the preseason. I'll put my hand up.
And they were great goals. That shot that he had for the first one, I mean, he sniped that. And
beautiful.
And then the second goal, it was like he was screaming, "Get the fuck in the net!"
And he started to play in the second goal. He had that takeaway in the corner.
Yeah, big. I mean, I felt like this was the best game I've ever seen him play. I just, the battle was there. It's funny. I was watching with a buddy of mine, one of my best friends who I always watch with, and we were watching the Dallas and Colorado game between periods, and I was like, I was talking about Wyatt Johnston. I was like, why? You know what? It wouldn't surprise me if Wyatt Johnston ends up being Dallas's best player one day, even with guys like Hintz and Robertson and Haskin and all of them. Because, like, he has that it factor. Like, those guys that have that dog in them that take their game to that next level when, like, the times get tough and the spotlight gets on them. Alexis Lafrenière has that, and we're starting to see it more and more each game. He's over a point per game in the playoffs. He was their best forward tonight. I mean, I would say Igor Shesterkin was probably their best player, but Laffy was their best forward by far. So this is a huge, huge game for Laffy. Hopefully this is like Sagan 2011, where he had the big hat trick game in the conference finals, and he had his coming out party, and then he just broke out from there. I can't wait to see Lafrenière next season after this.
I think that
Either one of you guys?
Anytime you want.
I think that's going to be the case with Laffy. I think he's finally breaking out, and you're right. He drove the play the entire night, and if it wasn't for Igor, he's the best player tonight. It's not a doubt, but with the way Igor was making saves at will, not a doubt in my mind they're winning this game the entire way through. He was a brick wall tonight. They were not losing this game with the way he was playing. There was just no way.
Yeah, I mean, to go, I mean, Laffy right now, he's unbelievable right now. And like I mentioned before in the previous stream, how like, you know, we're seeing him not only score the points, but getting into those corners and winning those board battles and those corner battles, which is something we saw in the 2022 playoffs. Just the points weren't there. They would come here and there, but now, I mean, he's over a point per game player. He's just filled with all this confidence. And I know we're focused on the playoffs right now, but I already have my prediction for next year. I think he's a point per game player next year.
Get the hoop.
I would agree with that.
By the way, and there it is up there. There's the hoop.
The hoop.
Get the hoop.
I got to deliver the Blake
say-
Griffin jersey still.
I want that Blake Griffin jersey so bad for him.
I gotta say, guys, something about this game, just kind of thinking about it, it could be a lot like how they just couldn't beat Bobrovsky in the first two games last year, Carolina that did. And now you have Shesterkin basically doing the same thing to them. This could be something that breaks their spirit. Don't get me wrong. Carolina's going to come back. They're going to come back hard. That's what they do. They might even take game 3. Don't be surprised about that one. But I mean, this is a tough one to get over. They had this game, and I thought that they were the better team in this first 60 minutes, but the Rangers were the better team in overtime, even with Carolina having 2 power plays.
Yeah, you know what? I started noticing it too. And Panarin, I know Panarin had a couple of points, but I didn't think Panarin was himself. But I really started noticing it when Panarin really started dancing around in overtime. Like when he has his mojo, he has his swagger, he starts making those moves. Like that move he almost scored on, that was incredible. Cuts to the slot, gets to the middle, flips the puck over, fires the shot going against the grain, almost scores. I mean, if he would have scored that, the building would have came unglued right then and there.
You know, I got to give credit to the second line because they haven't been the dominant version of themselves that we've seen in the regular season this year. But when called upon and when the team needs a big goal, they come up big. I mean, you got the Panarin Game 4 goal in on the power play to take the lead. You have in Game 1, it was a 3-2 game. Panarin gets the goal again, and then tonight Laffy with 2 big goals. And Trocheck is I'm pretty sure he's now scored in 6 games in a row, 5 games in a row. Trocheck
5.
yeah.
First guy since 1933 to do it.
1938, I think.
It was 38. All right, I thought it was 33. Yeah. They said.
I
Anyway.
think it was 38 actually. But yeah, that comment was great. But I had the comment up before about Igor being like the walrus in the Geico commercial. No sleepies, Duncan.
I mean, one thing about that play you were saying, Phil, right before that play happened, Keandre Miller had a chance to pinch, and he elected not to, stayed back, and he ended up the puck came out of the zone. He was in defensive position. On the play where Panarin almost scored, Trouba pinched in on that, and then puck went the other way, and it led to Panarin having to take that penalty.
This comment is literally perfect. Jacob Triangle, welcome. I don't think I've seen you on here before, Jacob, but my God. Okay, so Andrew Papa Vasilio is saying 33. So Marc, you were right. But
need for the gift.
But this comment is just literally perfect. Laviolette, and it's funny because Johnny Lazzy and everybody else were just talking about like how intense the practices were. Like Molly Walker said it was intense. Colin Stevenson said it was intense. Vince was saying the practices were intense. Every single beat writer, that was the one word they were using. This is Laviolette all over it. Like it really does. And it just the attention to details, the not quitting and just rallying back from 2-1 goal deficits, rallying back in the third, getting that power play. I mean, tying the game, and then just unbreakable spirit with this team right now. It's really incredible. And whatever Jonathan Quick said in that locker room, I don't know what it is, but if you would have told me 10 years ago I'd ever even think of speaking the words, "I love you, Jonathan Quick," I would have told you to fuck right off. I'm not even kidding. I would have said those exact words. But I love you, Jonathan Quick, because whatever you said, that message got through. They went out there. They won that damn game. That was amazing.
It's resiliency, and that's what this team's got right now. They have something cooking right now. Now, listen, I know it's 2-0 series lead. This series is nowhere near over, but it seems like every time just somebody scores on them, they fight right back and they get it back. We've seen it countless times so far, whether that be in the Capital series or tonight's game. But also back to that comment, just like the training camp and them being conditioned well, that also helps when you get your business done early in the first round. You sweep and you got all that rest now.
I also think the mental aspect of this has something to do with it, because I think under Gallant, maybe they don't get that game tying goal. Maybe they don't fight and get 3 power plays in the third period, and one of them tied the game, and then 2 of them, I mean, they could have won the game in regulation too with their efforts. By the way, thank you, ESPN, for cutting to the Dallas Stars game with 30 seconds remaining on the power play in a tie game, and the Rangers moving up the ice. But this is Laviolette. This is what he does. And he takes teams like this and can bring them to new heights. He did it with Nashville. I sound like a broken record, but he did it with Nashville, and he did it with Philadelphia, and he did it with the Carolina Hurricanes.
Yeah,
you're quiet over there.
No, because it's allowed here. But yeah, there's no doubt that this has Laviolette's fingerprints all over it. It's to the point where I'm starting to go into every game feeling cocky and arrogant, honestly. Like, I'm feeling like every single game going into it, they're going to win. When they were down 3-2 after the second, as poor as they played in that second period at points, I said to the guy next to me, I'm like, they're going to tie this game. It's going to overtime. And it went to overtime, and I had the vibe the whole way through that they were going to win. It's just like you guys were saying, like the comment said, the fingerprints are all over it from the conditioning. And like Matt said too, this is what happens when you close out a series early. And under Gallant, that first round probably goes 7 games. So let's be real.
And yeah, I said 7 games, and I thought that if you would have told me that they would have had a 2-0 lead in this series, and the special teams battle would have been overwhelmingly in the Rangers' favor after those 2 games, I again, that would have been another thing where I would have just laughed at you and said, you're funny. You got jokes, right? But I mean, it's special teams matter so much in the playoffs and all this. And I know, Ev, you and I and Matt too were big on the whole power play merchants thing for a while. And you know what? The special teams is really winning it right now. 5-on-5, I don't really – I think you could probably say Carolina had the edge in this game 5-on-5. I mean, really? But the first game, the Rangers – I would say the Rangers outplayed them 5-on-5. They held them to 16 shots outside of that, like, last 3 or 4 minute part of the game where Carolina got, like, 7 shots and tried to tie the game. So,
yeah,
you know what? It's amazing to see this team really just execute in all areas and come together, because it's so funny. We're sitting there looking at, like, when's Hedl coming in? You know, they're not going to change a friggin' thing with what's going on right now. They're finding ways to win games. This Ranger team would find ways to lose games. They're finding ways to win games now. It's insane. I love it.
And you know, it's like I remember back after our game 2, after we did the game 2 stream, and we were talking about how the penalty kill, like, even though we like how they're getting chances on it, but they were a bit too wide open. The penalty kill this series has been locked down. They've just been incredible. Sticks in the right place, not letting Carolina get set up. Everything kept to the outside. They're just, I mean, Carolina's 0 for 10 on the power play this series so far. And I know that's not going to hold because eventually they will break through, but so far the penalty kill has been exceptional.
If you would have told me,
and it's funny with how much we.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, it's funny with how much we whine during the season about the 5v5 play. The refs, it seems like, are calling the games more. Like, the refs are blowing the whistles more than we thought they would. It's ridiculous, but it is what it is. It's playing in the Rangers' favor, though, so I'm not complaining.
Yeah, and by the way, guys, whenever you have something that's on the top of your mind, this is as free-flowing of a thing as we can do. It's just it's basically like regular hockey discussion. If you got something on your mind, just go ahead and say it. So I don't want you guys to feel
It's hard
like
to keep up with the delay I got.
That's true. Yeah. I didn't account for that, but yeah. But if you guys got something in your head, go ahead and say it, because this is just hockey discussion. There's no format to this.
But if you would have said in this series, Sebastian Aho is going to have 5 points in the first 2 games. Jake Gensel is going to have 2 goals, who's always been a nightmare for the New York Rangers. And so Sturkin's going to let in 3 goals in back-to-back games. And and also Jordan Staal was dominating down low. And you know something? The Rangers are up 2-0 in this series right now.
It's the formula of a good team. You just, like we were saying, you find ways to win no matter what the other team throws at you. It's like they're just finding ways to win, and it's a good sign right now. It really is.
Yeah, and I love this because of the fact that it's in the playoffs. You're obviously you're going to have your ups and downs. From game to game, there's ebbs and flows between every game, serious shift, everything like that. And the next one is always important because how you respond. And this team is responding so well to what's going on. Like that. The Trouba turnover for the 3rd goal.
No.
It's just a terrible turnover. And then what is Gustafsson doing there on the coverage? Like, he literally just let Gensel just sit right out in the slot and get that goal. But what do? They tighten it up. And then they tie the game. And then they bring it to overtime. And then they get through the first overtime with the power plays that Carolina got. And then they find a way to win it in double overtime. It's just great teams find ways to win. The bad teams find ways to lose. And I'm not saying Carolina is a bad team, but the Rangers have found ways to beat them in 2 straight games. So.
And now the mission is simple.
Yeah, you guys
just
got
got split in Carolina. I was just gonna say though that now you just got split in Carolina at the very least. Like that's all you got to do, and you come home for game 5. But I obviously, if they can just wrap this thing up in Raleigh, but they made their job easier. You took advantage of home ice, and this is why home ice was important too. You're seeing we're talking with Laviolette too. Like, I'm just noticing the little things that Gallant would just never even think of with matchup based things. And you're seeing him adjust throughout the game with it, and that's why home ice was crucial, and that's why I've been beating the drum all year that they had to get home ice, especially against a team like this where you don't want to go to Raleigh for games 1 and 2. You don't, because you want Laviolette to establish the matchups early, and you take advantage there. And this team has played great on home ice all season long. Carolina is a team that's not as good on the road.
You know what's funny is that I talked about adjustments and how Gallant could not make adjustments for the life of him. Laviolette made an adjustment before this series even started. I don't know how many were paying attention to this, but he started doing man-to-man defense in practices as opposed to their traditional structured zone defense, because Carolina likes to play with chaos, as they were saying in the broadcast, like Ferraro and McDonough were saying. But it's true. Man-to-man is a little more of a chaotic game. And the fact that Laviolette had those practices as intense as they were, and to go to a man-to-man coverage even before the series starts, shows you how well prepared Laviolette was for this team. Gallant could never.
Not only the man-on-man, but just talking about just adjustments. I remember somebody brought this up in Evan's comments one time during his post game, but he mentioned, and this is going back to the last year against Washington, that remember when they brought up Louis Domingue as the 3rd goalie, and we really didn't know why. Well, apparently, I don't know how true it was, but they were saying that they brought him up because Charlie Lindgren,
right-hand glove,
and they brought up Louis Domingue to practice on. I mean, they brought up Louis Domingue to practice on him to make sure they were prepared for Charlie Lindgren. And I mean, like, that's like Gerard Gallant would never think to do something like that.
Never. Not one bit. I wanted to highlight one thing, and I'll let somebody else have the floor after me. But John, thank you. Appreciate that. And no, they're definitely not pushovers, John. Not pushovers at all. And it's always funny because I see this name, and John's a regular. I see John on our streams a lot. I always think of John Petrucci from Dream Theater. So
wow, Dream Theater reference.
Yes.
Why don't you just throw a Queensrÿche while you're at it?
We're metal fans here, all of us.
Yeah.
I mean, Evan, I don't know Evan's musical tastes necessarily, but I know Maddie's a big metal fan. I know Marc is a big metal fan. I'm a big metal fan. So
come on, we know we're always repping.
Yeah,
we're always repping.
Metallica.
But and Phil, my first concert I ever went to, Queensrÿche, Operation Live Crime. It was an awesome show. But this is what, again, I'm going to throw this back to the summer when we were talking about Peter Laviolette, where it's like, this guy has been through everything. And this is the first time in 30 years the New York Rangers have gone 6-0 to begin the playoffs. And I mean, they went up 2-0 in a series. I mean, they don't ever do that. They did it last year. Look what happened.
I love this comment because I love Maiden too. And it's funny, one of my mutuals on Twitter, I posted something about Maiden and what Maiden's what was the better Maiden song? Run to the Hills or 2 Minutes to Midnight? And I said Run to the Hills by like a microscopic margin. And then went on to say that Hallowed Be Thy Name is their best song. And then I got asked to do a top 10 of Maiden. And I had 8 that I could definitely give you off the top of my head. But the last 2 spots were up to like, I think I listed 6 different songs. And the guy who I was talking to was very shocked that Fear of the Dark was not my top 10.
Ooh. Fear, you know what? Power Slave is so good. Flash of the Blade would be in there for me. 2 minutes. I love
Ace is High.
Ace is High is literally my Instagram screen name, and it was my my AIM screen name back in the day.
Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner is an underrated pick.
Unbelievable song.
Very.
I mean, and we're still haven't even gone into like older Maiden, like Charlotte the Harlot or
Charlotte the Harlot. Yeah, oh my God, Prowler. Phantom of the Opera is probably my either number 1 or number 2 all-time Maiden song. It's you get me on the right, you get me on a different day, I might tell you Hallowed Be Thy Name. Or I'll tell you Phantom of the Opera. And I love Di'Anno's performance in Phantom of the Opera. I think he was underrated.
Well, you still got to go with Can I Play with Madness, which is what we're all feeling like right now.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And then when we think about the years that we've had Gerard Gallant or David Quinn coaching this team, you know what that was? Wasted years.
Yeah.
That's a God tier reference, Marc.
That's great. That's great.
Tier.
You could have used Sea of Madness there too. That would have been a real good one. Oh man. But yeah, that would have been. Oh God, I love Dave Mustaine. Dave Mustaine is probably one of my top 3 favorite musicians of all time. Wrathchild is great. Oh man, that is so good. So good. I love all the metal references, guys. Maiden references, Metallica. I know Evan is not liking that right now because he is not the biggest metal fan, but keep them all coming because the 3 of us other 3 over here are just loving it. So, so Evan, let's hear what's on the music agenda for you. Like, what would your playlist be? Just name a few songs.
I don't think I should.
Why?
Because you guys are going to be like, what the fuck is this kid talking about?
No, I'm all over the place. Metal's my favorite, but I am all over the place.
Yeah, I got a lot of taste too.
Is it EDM? Is it country?
Is it show tunes?
No, I listen to some metal by association with my dad. So I'm kind of all over the place just because my mom's got completely different music taste. She's all with the modern stuff, and then my dad's into the metal stuff. So I'm kind of like in between with it. Not hardcore, really, if anything.
Okay. Evan looks like he likes Rush. I love Rush. What are you kidding me? One of my biggest regrets is never getting to see them live.
That's not an insult.
What's that?
It's not an insult that he likes
not
Rush.
an insult
That's not
thrown
an
at me.
insult at all. There is no way. Hall & Oates is great, by the way. I could absolutely fuck with Hall & Oates. So, special teams difference, bottom line, yeah. I love this reference here. Pantera.
A good point.
Power play. Can we get
someone in the chat brought up a good point, by the way, about Laviolette.
What's that?
What's the point, Ev?
Someone in the chat before said that Laviolette was robbed of the Jack Adams. I don't know if we talked about that before.
So it's great that you actually nailed that out or called that out, because I responded to somebody on Twitter who I'm trying to find it. I think it was that Nick B guy that I'm mutuals with. I think you guys might be mutuals with him too. Not sure. But he basically pointed out that everyone, like, there was no Ranger that got nominated for any individual award or anything, and that Laviolette got snubbed by it. Like, think about it. Panarin got snubbed from the Hart because it's just a year that he didn't. Yeah, okay, here it is. Found it. Vezina, no one, because Igor's first half basically killed his bid.
Mm-hmm.
Any other year, Panarin's probably an Hart finalist, but you have two 100 assist players in the same season, and one of them outscored his second highest scoring teammate by over 50 points. So Kucherov's probably getting MVP, deservedly so. There's no Norris contender because Adam Fox missed too many games.
Yeah, you missed a month. That probably basically killed him this year.
The Rangers didn't have a Calder caliber rookie. Cooley was good, but nowhere close to Calder caliber. There's no Masterton finalist. There's no Lady Bing finalist. The Rangers don't have a Selke finalist caliber player.
You know what? I actually saw this on Twitter. I think it was Big Hockey posted this, but the last President's Trophy winning team to not have anybody, whether that be coach or roster player, nominated for a big time award was the 2015 Rangers.
Yeah.
Vigneault wasn't nominated that year?
No.
I think Lunk. I don't think Lunk. Wait, Lunk was. I don't think he finished as a Vezina finalist.
He didn't finish as a finalist. Cam Talbot got one Vezina vote, by the way.
Oh, that's right, because that was the year that he was hurt. He finished fifth in Vezina voting.
Cam Talbot for the win.
Cam Talbot. Oh, Marc's
no, but it's so ridiculous how Rick Bowness got in over Laviolette. Like that, I don't get. The guy, and I feel bad that he had to miss time for the reasons he did, but he wasn't there the entire year. I don't understand why he got Jack Adams votes over Laviolette.
I don't know either. I don't know why either, but Bonus is, I think he was a good coach. They were a playoff team last year. And listen, I understand that they had a pretty nice jump in points, but the Rangers went from they were Division 3.
Yeah, they finished third last year.
Yeah, they finished Division 3 because they won the first 2 games in Jersey, and then they won the President's Trophy the next season with a new coach. Obviously, this is all Peter Laviolette's work.
Mm-hmm.
It's his work. So I just,
and not only that, he got 100+ point season up in Aaron. He got Laffy to break out. I mean, what more does he have to do to get a Jack Adams nomination? But look, I'm sure if I'm Peter Laviolette right now, if I can get my hands on the Stanley Cup, I don't give a shit about the fucking Jack Adams trophy.
No. I tell you right now, you know what's funny? I think this team probably looked at that, and they won't admit it, but they looked that way. They looked at all that, They were like, hey, you know what? Brett didn't get the heart nod. He didn't get a nomination. Laviolette didn't get a Jack Adams. This is the type of team. I get that feeling that this is that type of team that's just going to use that as motivation. They won't admit to it, but they're going to use that as motivation. They want to shove it right down everyone's throat, right in their faces, and just say, you know what? Well, you don't like us? Well, fuck you. Now you're good. Yeah. It's like the John Cena line from Basic Thugonomics. I'm untouchable, but I'm forcing you to feel me.
I mean, it's the same thing. Like, I know it's a different sport and stuff, but when you if any of you guys watched the Last Dance documentary with Michael Jordan, he talked about how he'd find the smallest little thing to piss him off, and he used it as motivation to go out and just kill their next opponent.
Michael Jordan existed just like that, and no matter what it was, even in his Hall of Fame speech, he was still asking how he got drafted after Hakeem Olajuwon and Sam Bowie. And he took shots at Brian Russell, who he pushed off of for the final basket of his career, save those other 2 seasons. We'll just say that was an exhibition. But this is what the New York Rangers have been doing. There's been a focus on this team, and Laviolette started it from day one. And you remember when Valakat talked about this in the preseason, that there was the speech that he made, you get goosebumps. You know, every coach does it. But when you got a guy like him, who's taken 3 teams to a Stanley Cup final, I mean, you're going to listen to him in a Stanley Cup ring, winningest American coach. And this team is focused. And you're looking at a lot of things. Artemi Panarin, if we want to knock him and go, well, he's only got 3 goals. They're all game winners. Okay. And you look at this team. I think last year, I don't think this is the same result. Just simply put.
No.
And Jonathan Quick also, by the way, great help. He's getting Igor prepared up here for everything.
And that just leads me into what I was going to say. I mean, you know, there were 2 comments that I wanted to highlight that actually kind of played into that. I'm trying to find the first one. Oh, it was from James Marshall here, who, well, I think welcome to the show. I don't think I've seen you here before, James. But not to mention, you sit your star goalie so he can get his head right for playoffs. Jonathan Quick has been a huge calming influence on this team and a big leader. And I know that he's still with them. And I know Blake Wheeler is now back in the locker room. I don't think Blake Wheeler should play, but I love the fact that he's around. Because that's somebody who, by all accounts from everybody, whether it was the MSG broadcast crew, whether it was the players themselves, they were talking about how much of a leader that Wheeler was in that locker room. And you need guys like this in times like this. So I love that. And the other thing I wanted to highlight, one other real quick. Yeah, James, I would agree with this one. I mean, he is deserving of the Jack Adams because it takes a coach with balls to do what he did. Like it's a very fine line that you're stepping to sit there and sit a star goaltender like Igor Shesterkin, 2 years removed of putting up prime Hasek like numbers, and to just sit him like that. I mean, that was incredible, man. That was absolutely incredible for them to do that.
I mean, that's why, like, secretly underrated, Jonathan Quick has been one of the most important players on this Rangers roster this year. I mean, to have that confidence in your backup goalie when your star franchise goalie is struggling, and you could just say, okay, Jonathan, get in there. We're giving this guy a mental reset. We trust in you. That's big. It's big. And he's a winner. Obviously, he's got the 2 cups with LA, one last year in Vegas. And I'm sure right now he's praying, he's hoping right now to get that championship with his hometown team, because it would be special for him.
Yeah, that would be something else to have the guy that denied the Rangers of a cup 10 years ago come in and help the team win a cup.
Wait,
and the team that he grew up for.
Phil, I'm confused. Tim Peel isn't on the New York Rangers.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Dwight. Yeah, Dwight King. Thanks.
Interference, Timmy.
Interference, bud. They had to apologize for that one. That was bad. That was bad. I'll ask Joe Shane Train's question here. I want to say they come out and they win Game 3. I'm going to be a homer, and I say they come out and they win Game 3.
They're
because someone else pointed this out before in the chat, and I forget who it was. It was way earlier on, and I'm trying to find the comment now. But basically, with the comment said that the Rangers played mediocre and that Carolina played their best hockey, and the Rangers still won it. You know how much of a backbreaker that is for a team?
Yeah, but you do get guys like Jake Gensel, who has his 2 Stanley Cups. He could sit there and talk about that. Although I don't think the Pittsburgh Penguins of that era really went through adversity. I think they were just, I think they just mowed right through everybody. On the other hand, I do think the 5 overtime game really helped Carolina because they still played well in the conference finals last year. They just lost another overtime game, another close game in Game 3, and then basically an overtime game in Game 4 to be swept out. And I'm not going to sit back and say that it's over, but man, the Rangers, it's like Rounders and the last scene versus Teddy KGB when he had the pocket Kings, and as he said, I chopped one of his legs out, and all I got to do is lean on him. That's what the Rangers got to do right now.
Yeah, that's a great reference,
and that's why I'm confident with this team right now, because if this was Gerard Gallant and they went up 2-0 on the Canes, like we saw last year with the Devils and Tampa the year before, they'd probably come out and they don't capitalize on this. But Laviolette probably has them level-headed right now, saying, listen, these are 2 big wins. Let's be prepared because Carolina's going to come out fast next game because it's basically do or die for them. If they go down 3-0, it's basically series is over. But he's going to keep them level-headed. He's going to be ready to come out and play Game 3. And if they can pick up the win in Game 3, it's going to be big.
Weather the storm.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the first thing that they have to do in Carolina on Thursday is weather the storm. Just that attack, they're going to come in waves. And if you can weather the storm and you can come out of that period with it still being a game and or even with the lead, you can absolutely drain the life out of that building and take a 3-0 series lead against them. And like you said, once that 3-0 lead happens, that series is just about over. I mean, the last team to come back was what the Flyers in Boston, I think, right?
No, the 2014.
The 2014 Kings on Sharks. That's right.
Because speaking about which, Justin Williams got away with pushing Alex Stalock into the net to win Game 6 in that series. So we talk about controversial calls. That one and the Dwight King one were 2 of the ones in 2014. But yeah, your likeliness of going up is there. And look, Carolina can do it, but I don't think you're telling me you're going to be Igor Shesterkin 4 in a row.
No.
Now, I just want to say this before addressing this comment. The Carolina is going to bring it because their home crowd is amazing. Their home road splits, they're better this year, but they're a better home team than they are a road team. The Rangers are a really good road team, and Shesterkin can actually negate that as well. So if the Rangers can go in, get the first goal, you lean on them, as we were just saying, and you might be booking your ticket to the conference finals a little bit earlier. Guys, how about Roslovic? He looked great today. And that the Rangers had so many odd man rushes in overtime. You're like, one-on-one guys in front of the net, and Lafrenière, who missed out on the hat trick. I mean, just Matt, what are your thoughts on Roslovic first? I thought he was fantastic tonight.
I thought he started out a bit slow this game. I thought he turned over the puck a little too much for my liking, but I think as the game came on, or as the game, went forward, there's some power legs out there. You saw his speed really come to life, and he had plenty of chances, and I thought when he missed that chance in overtime, I'm like, oh shit, they're missing the chances right now. It's gonna come like to bite him in the ass. But no, I gotta give him credit because I was one of his heaviest critics. Like, I initially liked the move by Drury. He came in. His first 3-4 games, he played very well, and he had a big impact on Meek and Kreider. But then he had that big stretch until the end of the season where he was basically invisible.
Mm-hmm.
He started the playoffs. First 2 games, I didn't really like his game. He did get that big goal in Game 2 against Washington, but I feel like ever since then, he's just found another gear to his game, and he's been really good so far. I think he has 7 points right now in 6 games. He's over a point per game player. He's playing really well right now, so I got to give him major credit there.
Yeah, it's I thought like the first couple of games of the Washington series, I thought he was okay, not bad, but okay. And I think since the last 2 games, since Game 3 of the Washington series, he's looked great. I mean, and I was hard. I may have been harder on him than anybody because I was really worried about him.
I was calling for him to get scratched.
Yeah, to see. I was wondering how he would even hold up come playoff time because I was questioning the compete level. I was questioning whether or not he had Roslovic has 2 goals, 3 assists, 5 points in 6 games. Okay. Or was that entering tonight?
I think it said 6 games, so it's including tonight.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, and that's big because right wing has been an issue for the Rangers, as we know, for the last few years. Ever since Butch Dandich left, they've had problems with right wing. But now you're getting production from Roslovic. Lafrenière is over a point per game, and he looks like he's finally here. Capo Caco needs to be better, but you know, if you're gonna get that good defense in the third checking line and get some like goals here and there, okay.
They're nails defensively, that line. They are a pain.
I thought in Game 1 that line was impressive in terms of maybe not offensively, but defensively, like Evan said, they were shut down. They were nails.
Yeah. They were incredible. They were all over Aho's line at even strength. All over them. They couldn't do anything.
I think with the Roslovic thing, too, a lot of it is because of what we mentioned when they got him, that Meek and Kreider need to step up their game. And those two elevating their game here come playoff time, it's huge. And that's part of why you're seeing Roslovic's game to elevate as well. He elevates with the line mates because he's a passenger at the end of the day. And that's what you're seeing right now.
And by the way, just like shifting it over, one of the guys I was the most critical of this season was Mika Zibanejad, and for a good reason. He dropped down from 91 points to like 67, 71 points. He had a bad season, and the criticism was rightfully so. He deserved every ounce of criticism. But Phil, I don't know if you remember, but when we did the stream after the Senators game, and we were talking about how when the playoffs start, it's a new page, new chapter. You got to write your own story. That's what he's done so far. The guy's been simply incredible. I was calling for him to be a play driver on that line. Every time this guy steps onto the ice, every shift, he looks incredible. You know, he's scoring goals, setting up guys. He's winning faceoffs. How many faceoffs did he win tonight in the overtime? Which we never really see Mika Zibanejad dominant in the faceoff circle ever. He's been unreal. He has 11.6 in 6 games, just under 2 points per game. And right now he's second in the playoffs in terms of points. He's 1 point behind Connor McDavid. This is and like I said, I criticized him because I know that he can play up to this level, and he's showing that right now.
By the way, just to mention this, we're going to be talking about the guy Jack Roslovic was traded for tomorrow because you guys know one of my favorite players to talk about. That'll be in our bar talk segment. But
Lab talk.
I'm getting more layups out of there. But
do the Rangers want to win Game 3?
Oh man.
Do the Rangers want to go undefeated in the playoffs?
Marc's
you know what? I make one format error
from the freezer.
Might have to do one night from the freezer.
Oh my god. Freezer talk.
Freezer talk. meat locker talk.
Marc's definitely in the freezer. He definitely has like a desk and something and a bunch of pencils and papers. And he goes there.
No, he's writing with a feather and ink. The ink is freezing on him. That's where the errors come in.
They told him he couldn't bring the hoop in the freezer. Oh, Mark. By design, right?
It's always by design, yes. Sometimes it's by design.
Can we get the layup talk shirts? Those need to be made.
I feel like Evan would be like the first to make those.
And on the back it says by design.
Well, the best part is we already have. I mean, Phil's already got the meme of him going, "It's dog shit. It's dog shit. It's dog shit." Exactly. And now there's the other
That's
one.
all Evan. That is
one of me
Evan.
and Phil pointing in opposite directions. I gotta get to use that a little bit more.
The thumb point.
Mark getting in on the Pops meme.
It's funny because you were talking about memes and stuff before, and I forget what comment it was, but I was gonna reference the Barney one with the just inject it into my veins with the beer. Because I thought of Simpsons, I was like, oh, Mark would appreciate that.
Oh, always. I'm always good for a good Simpsons reference.
It's so funny. The highlights are on right now, and I said this before to my friend James I was watching with. 3 of their 6 goals that they've scored in this series have come on deflections.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
One was a net, and then the other 3, one was a net mouth scramble. Then you have Gensel's shot in the slot, and I think the other one was also a shot in the slot as well. So
that was Nate just coming in alone.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Bible.
It was one was a breakaway, one was a net mouth scramble, and the other one was a shot in the slot. So, like, they're not beating Shesterkin, like, straight up. Like, out of how many shots they've had in this series, only 3 shots have really, like, beaten him straight up. Everything
I
else
was talking to the guy next to me at the game about that, and he's just like, I'm not going to be worried until Carolina starts to like get in on the cycle and actually score goals that way. They're not really earning their goals the way the Rangers are. And it's true. Like the Rangers, and you saw it with the adjustment with Laviolette, like we talked about before, that they started to keep traffic away from the front of the net, and it won them the game. That's the way Carolina's scoring. They're not beating them at all on the forecheck.
Absolutely 110% right there. They know that they're not beating Shesterkin that way. And when you know that you're facing a goaltender like that, that's just not going to let up goals, and you're going to have to get those tough, dirty goals, and you're not going to get like, those nice passing plays and everything like that. Like that gets in your head. Like I would love to interview people who faced Patrick Waugh in the playoffs, like especially in the Stanley Cup Finals. Like, yeah, like I just to see like the mentality of what they were thinking when they had to face him.
Phil, let's go into what he said to them in LA. I think he said it was in the first overtime in LA when they played a game 3.
Yeah, he wasn't letting up another goal.
Yeah, and then he just walked out into the locker room and then just said, guys, don't worry about it. I'm not going to let in anything. Just go find the winner. And then it's that easy.
The best Patrick Roy clip was in his back and forth with Jeremy Roenick, and he goes, I can't hear Jeremy very well. I have my 2 cup rings stuck in my fucking ears.
I have
That's one of the best lines I've ever heard.
Because that was possibly some of the best chirping ever, because Roenick embarrassed him on that breakaway or that move in game 3. I think it was a breakaway. And coming around going, yeah. And then Wad makes that comment. Slam dunk. And if they were still in Quebec, that he wouldn't be there.
Yeah.
Though that back and forth with Ronick was just amazing. It's like I think of like the greatest chirps of all time. I think of like Kane chirping Maroon about getting home to like roller hockey tournaments, which was just amazing. But yeah, just Patrick Waugh and Jeremy Roenick and two of the NHL's most colorful personalities ever. So it just going back and forth with each other in a playoff series is just that's what the NHL needed, especially after that lockout.
I wish I was around for that era so I could watch it.
You missed a lot of good hockey like back then. That Colorado-Detroit rivalry was just off the wall. It was must-watch television. Like back, I don't know if it's just like a nostalgia bias and just like an attachment to that era of hockey. But like in the 90s, like for me, like growing up watching playoff hockey and stuff like that, like even when the Rangers were eliminated, it just felt so much more exciting like back then for some reason. I don't know. Maybe like I said, it's an attachment, but the Detroit Colorado series, the Pittsburgh Florida series in '96.
I was about to mention that.
That was a great series. Edmonton's upsets of like Colorado and Dallas were unreal, especially with the way that Curtis Joseph played.
And then Tommy Salo the second time around, right?
Yeah, Salo the second time around. It just
it doesn't help at all when you have the garbage ESPN broadcast too for these games that ruin everything. It just ruins the entire vibe. Like I had people telling me that tonight the Garden didn't sound loud on TV. It's like in that building, it was shaking, that building. And just in general, you have like, I don't know. I'm not a fan of Sean McDonough at all.
Yeah, I wanted Bob. Bob's the GOAT. He brings He brings so much energy to those games. He's amazing.
What do we have to do to get Doc out of retirement?
Or how about this? Why don't we?
Gary Thorne.
Yeah, I mean, you can get Gary Thorne back. He might get the names wrong, but he'll still be entertaining.
Sam does it anyway.
I mean,
yeah, Sam does it.
Yeah, but Sean McDonough just, I mean, and then they cut away from the game, and just the ESPN didn't do anything right today except for the intermissions with Levy, Messier, and Weeksy. And Weeks was, I mean, Weeks brings so much of a different life in that whenever he's in there.
Yeah, I like Weeks a lot more than I like Subban. Not just
definitely.
Because, and I think Subban's a good personality. I do think that he brings something. I just think sometimes he tries a little too hard to go, over the top, and that stuff kind of just annoys me at times. But Kevin Weeks just, I love his energy. There's something about him that just he's got an it factor to be on television. Really does.
The best ones were during the TNT broadcasts when you get fucking Charles Barkley and Shaq come into the studio and Biz is with them. That shit is so funny.
TNT is so much better than ESPN. It's not even close. And I think it was Rupper actually tweeted that he was complaining that they were cutting the camera angles too much tonight too. Which
yeah.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of that.
That would drive me insane.
There were so many times where a play would happen, they'd cut to the bench, and you're like, wait, there was something on the play. Follow the play. Because, like, take for instance when Jarvis collided with Fox. I want to say it was kind of a hit by Fox, but Jarvis was kind of bent over, and then he almost stole the puck and got it back, but he had his arm tucked like this, and you're like, oh, he's injured, so something's wrong. And then immediately after he gets
trying to interfere with somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sad though because the hockey that we grew up with on ESPN was so much better than this. It really was. It was like 10 times better, and I wish you guys could have been around for that because it was special. Like Gary Thorne and Bill Clement, and then Ferrara was better back then. He was better back then, but he definitely. And we had Ray on here a while ago, but like he seems like he's bitter towards the Rangers still for '96 for being traded away to LA. But Steve Levy and John Saunders and Barry Melrose and Dave Strader and Darryl Ray and guys like them
and John Butchergross.
And just it was just such a better product in like the 90s and or very early 2000s.
The two best Gary Thorne calls are one, Marc Messier to the empty net. Do you believe it?
Do you believe
it? And off the floor,
on the board, Paul
Kariya. That one is sick.
I love this because this is the Hockey Falls reference right here. If anybody remembers those commercials, Clement, hands of cement. I miss those commercials so much, especially the one where they take the ice from the Boston Garden and they put it in the jar, and the lady opens up the jar and smells it and dumps it out. Oh man!
But it was also an era when ESPN had a little bit more fun while trying to be professional. Now it's sort of like their idea of fun. It seems a little bit more artificial compared to TNT, which seems a lot more loose.
Yeah, TNT definitely has a vibe to them. It's the only thing I'll say is that I was so happy to see Gretzky come to television because I mean he's my idol, but Wayne definitely seems like he's just, his heart's not in it.
This is a guy that for his entire career was he is the poster boy of the vanilla answers. He didn't want to be controversial in any way. Mm-hmm. And and it's funny because he's able to marry a Hollywood actress and have one of the greatest careers, and there isn't a blemish on this guy. What's the worst thing you're going to say about him? He's been happily married for 40 years.
Yeah, it's crazy. You never would have thought that Wayne Gretzky wouldn't have been a guy that would. I mean, actually, you kind of could see it, but I do like some of the other things like this and that. Like if he wasn't so hard, like trying so hard to engagement farm and just piss off certain fan bases, he'd be a lot more tolerable because he was funny for a long time on Twitter, like years ago. He was a real funny guy, but then like once Spit and Chicklets really came up, it was like, okay, let me see which fan base I could piss off the most and get the most clicks out of. And it's just that wears out after a while.
And by the way, Bissonnette's really nice in real life. I met him last year in Nashville.
Yeah, you did say that. I mean, I can see it. I don't think he's a complete, asshole or anything like that. I just think that he's just trying to do this because it's a shtick, and he knows it works, so he continues to do it. Just going through some of your other comments here. You guys can feel free to jump in, say whatever you want at any time.
I'm actually trying to be quiet so Matt can jump in.
No, I mean, I know we're talking about the Rangers, but I mean, what do we think about the other series so far? Like, what's your guys' predictions for the other series?
I got Dallas in 6 in this one. I just think that Dallas is oh my God, they almost just ended.
Yeah, that's what I was.
I just think Dallas is a deeper team with better goaltending. Colorado has a little more of the star power, but I just think the defense and goaltending favor Dallas. I think Dallas plays a better team defensive game. I know I said the same thing about Winnipeg, but I just think Dallas is a far better team than Winnipeg, and I think Colorado's really going to have their trouble here. But I'm saying Dallas in 6. I had Florida in 5 over Boston, but I may be looking like a horse's ass on that one. What else did I have? And then the other Western series is Edmonton and Vancouver. I've got to go Vancouver in, I would say 6 there.
I went Edmonton in 6 in that series. I went Edmonton in 6. I went Dallas in 7. I went Florida in 5, and I went Rangers in 7. Hopefully, I'm wrong about the Ranger one, and that ends quick, and that ends more quickly. But I'm still keeping it the same.
I did say Rangers in 6. I said it in the preview before, and also my blog on that. I said it in the tweet yesterday. I said Florida in 7 and the Oilers in 6. Thatcher Demko coming back might get back too late. They already rolled him out until game 4, and I just think, speaking about another slugfest, is Dallas versus Colorado, and I think that's going to go the distance.
Could see it.
You gotta feel bad kind of for Dallas. I mean, I won't, because they're gonna play longer series, and they'll obviously be more tired. But to finish second in the NHL, and your first round matchup is against Vegas, and then you got to play Colorado in the second round, that's a tough draw.
Yeah,
that's tough.
That West is juggernaut. Like it just is stacked.
But that's why I said for the Rangers before going in, get your series done early, because if you come out of the East, you're probably going to have to play a tough, depleted team out of the West. And that can work to their advantage.
One of the hot takes that I was talking about, and we mentioned it on the air, I think it was last week, that people were saying, "Oh, play Jonathan Quick in Game 4, give Igor a rest. Do not take him out. Do not take him out." And the worst case scenario is they end up winning that game, getting momentum, taking Game 5, back for Game 6. Maybe you win Game 7, maybe you win Game 6, but you could have just left Shesterkin, who's on a roll right now. So
yeah, you don't take out a hot goalie on a roll right now. Igor's on another level right now. He's playing like 2022 Igor again.
Mm-hmm.
Not even just that he's hot and you don't touch the lineup, but that's disrespectful to go up against 3-0 against Washington and just say, "Oh, okay, here you go, Jonathan, quick play." That's disrespectful, and like you don't do that. You stick with your lineup. You stick with Igor.
Yeah,
I hate to draw the comparison here, but if you ever watched the '94 Road to Victory video, Richter just talked about how both he and Healy hated how Keenan would just play musical chairs with the two of them at times.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't do it. You don't want to piss your goaltenders off like that.
And I think they were only down 2-0 or in Game 4 versus the Devils, and he yanked Richter and sat Messier and Leach for long shifts of the game. That's one of those moments where you go, was Keenan really a genius?
Well, that's why he said during that whole documentary, he said when they went down 2-0 in Game 6, he was looking over to the bench and he said, "Don't pull me. I'm feeling great right now." And he kept them in that game.
Yeah.
Until Kovalev and Messier finally broke through with those goals.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the adjustment. It was putting Kovalev, Messier, and Graves together. And the scary part is that had they not made those deals for guys like Matteau and Altamonte and Gartner for Anderson, and maybe if you even played Olczyk could have been their second line center. He was good enough to be their second line center at the time. And for whatever reason, Keenan just did not want to play him. I don't know. I really don't get why.
But again, that's, you look at that game also. You were talking about the Kovalev play and moving him up. Phil, that 4-on-4 goal, the one that gave the Rangers the lead, that was like a symphony of just Kovalev and Leach just setting it all up, and Messier just bulldozing to the front of the net and scoring past Bertie Nichols.
Bertie Nichols. Oh, okay, yeah.
Bertie Nichols. And remember what Jim talked about that. Jim Dowd, when he was on with us, he said, "Well, I don't talk about that game."
Yeah. He did not want to talk about that game at all. Can you blame him?
Yeah. But
that's his PTSD.
Go ahead, Phil. Go with this comment.
Yeah, welcome to the show, embodiment of a meme. I feel like I embody a meme sometimes. I mean, Evan actually put a GIF for me, so yeah. But yeah, definitely. I joke around a lot saying I'm going to need a Xanax. I felt like I genuinely needed a Xanax for that game. So I'm right there with you. For any college students that were trying to do whatever work that they have for finals or whatever the case may be, and we're still trying to watch this game, my hat goes off to you. Like, seriously, my hat goes
The
off
guy
to
in
you.
front of me needed a Xanax. He ended up throwing up.
Wow.
Can I can't blame him one bit.
I didn't see him though after the second period. He threw up by the end of the second period. They were gone, so they missed a good game.
Damn.
Yeah, that's not good.
I was nervous. I was nervous as all hell about this game, and my pulse was racing from the beginning of the third period. And even as I was trying to calm myself down, I mean, I turned to my fiance and her cousin, and just said, "I'm probably gonna have to throw up after this game." But Music's to answer your question, do you think the series could still go 7? Don't let your opponent up off the mat. Right now, they're hurting. They're going to regroup. They're going to give their best effort on Thursday night. Don't let them up.
No.
Nope.
It's like a UFC fight. You smell blood in the water, you go down and you get into the mount, and then you just start letting the bombs go, and you end that fight. You TKO them, and that's it.
And that's why I said earlier why I trust Lavi, because he's going to have those guys ready for game 3, because he knows, like we said earlier, that storm surge is going to come, and they're going to come in waves and waves and waves. And I think he'll have them prepared to fight them off.
Yeah, I'm with you. You guys want to do maybe like 5 more minutes, because it's going on like 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, just do 5 more minutes. And by the way, because I can't go that way because I got neighbors, so I'm not trying to scream. But Lonnie, that's one of the great lines of Howie Rose just saying, Matteau, one more hill to climb, baby. Well, this is Mount Carolina, and it's still Mount Carolina. They have to get all the way to the top.
Yeah, I definitely need to finish him in Mortal Kombat. Yeah,
I'll work on that.
Yeah, definitely need that. But yeah, the Rangers have to be like a shark in the blood, shark smelling blood in the water. And then Evan, thank you for coming on with us, Evan. We appreciate that. So I know you got your stream to do. But yeah, we'll take a few more comments and stuff like that.
Oh, Ross, Miles Wood, Colorado takes game 1.
Oh, you're ahead of me.
Yeah, my bad.
Damn it. You're ahead of me by quite a bit. The puck is in Colorado's end on my feed right now.
Oh,
Johnston
man.
just missed that chance.
Can they miss one more shot on goal? Could they say it's I had Nate McKinnon on the over on shots on goal on the prop for that, and he's at 4 right now.
Oh, Heiskanen, you cannot get beat like that. That's not a good enough effort from Heiskanen. Oh, that's not good at all. Rob West, who I don't think I've seen you before in this, so welcome to the show. I feel like the relief from the Trocheck goal is only just letting up. Almost ready to go talk some smack to some Canes fans. Oh, I can't wait to see Pete tomorrow.
No smack talk. We stay humble here.
Yeah, we stay humble.
We stay humble until if we get the big prize.
Yeah, do not put the cart before the horse in any way. So
Miles Wood is a very good skater, but so is Miro Heiskanen. Miro Heiskanen got beat. He got caught sleeping there. Avalanche were down 3-0 in the first period, and they lost this game in overtime.
hey, Matt, you want to hear a fun fact about Miles Wood?
All right, let's go.
Okay, Miles Wood is the son of Randy Wood.
Randy Wood, who used to play for the Islanders.
And
the
folks,
Buffalo
what's the significance of Randy Wood in Rangers Islanders history?
I don't even know who Randy Wood is, so go on.
I know of Randy Wood. Randy Wood was a very good skater. He was known for his skating.
Mhm.
Didn't he score a big overtime winner against the Rangers?
The one I was looking for was he was the first penalty shot Mike Richter stopped.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Yeah. And that was in game 1 of the 1990 Patrick Division semifinals, which, by the way, I remember the only hat trick that was Bernie Nichols.
I was about to say that was Bernie Nichols' big series.
Yeah. But
Richter.
AZ, I hope that's the case because, that'll be great. We are looking at getting more time in Arizona in the future. But, I mean, look, and oh, by the way, another one for you, Matt. Do you know the only person to score a goal on a penalty shot on Mike Richter?
No, I don't.
Bill?
I know it is. It's Doug Waite.
It's Doug Waite.
My dad was at the '94 All-Star game, and he saw Richter stop Burry on the penalty shot.
It's the same move he used in that game.
In the final.
He used that move twice in that game, if I'm correct. And then he used it in game 4. And here's another little factor that not many people remember. Same move on Mike Vernon in game 7 against Calgary for the triple overtime hat trick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And wow. I mean,
Is that Anthony in the chat, or was that you, Mark?
That was me. Would play for Dallas too, right?
I don't think so. I could be wrong, but I don't remember him. I remember him with the Islanders in Buffalo. I don't remember him with Dallas.
I could have sworn he had a
No, you're right. He did.
Okay.
He did. 95, 96 for 30 games.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, guys, it's gonna be just a hell of a series. And yeah, this isn't over yet. Not by any means.
No. Thank you, David Glazer. Appreciate that.
You know who you guys gotta get on as a guest?
Who?
You gotta get Benoit Hogan.
I actually drink at the same bar as him. He's nervous about coming on.
He was my coach in spring hockey. He coached me for 2 years.
All right, the next time I see Benny, I'll see if I can bring that up.
Why is Benny nervous about coming on?
Hey, I was talking to him about it. He's like, I don't want to be taken the wrong way if I say something. You're like,
no, that's why I would say, just hey, if there are things that you don't want to talk about, you just let us know beforehand, and we won't ask those questions. We're not trying to put anybody on a spot here.
So we actually usually do puck doku.
Yeah.
So, I was gonna say, when I went to the Hall of Fame, I think this was 2013. I got this Stanley Cup with the Dallas Stars, 99 Cup champions, and at one of the practices, I got Benny to sign it.
Oh, that's awesome!
Yeah, he had a great gift. It was Ed Belfour got bottles of whiskey, the Ed Belfour whiskey, engraved with all their names from all the Cup guys from that year.
Oh, that's sick.
So
I remember during the second year of spring hockey when he coached me, we had a bet because he's obviously from Quebec and he was a Canadiens fan growing up, and at that time the Rangers were playing the Canadiens in the conference final in 2014, and we had a bet where if the Rangers beat the Canadiens, he had to buy me a soda, and if the Canadiens beat the Rangers, I had to buy him a soda, and luckily for me, I ended up getting that soda.
At least you didn't have him come out and embarrass your men's league team like you did to me and Anthony.
Oh, with the visor flipped up?
No, he just came out and his team smoked our team.
Yeah.
Smoked our team like mercy does. Bad. This was like 2009, I think. Just absolutely just killed us. He stepped out and he gained the blue line and like fired a fucking snapshot that just absolute piss rocket of a shot and just went right over our goalie's glove. He like barely even moved. Just he must have been like maybe 45 or something at the time. I don't even know how old he was, but he just absolutely killed us. Absolutely killed us.
Yeah, I remember at one of my clinics that we did when I was younger, and he just skate around and fucking dangle all the little kids, and it wasn't even close. But I actually I don't know if you see, but I got a picture right there and he's right.
That's so awesome.
He's
Right there.
that one, yeah.
It's so awesome.
Yeah, that's great. By the way, AZ Richter had 3 shutouts in the '97 playoffs when they went to the conference finals with Wayne Gretzky. It was game 2 versus Florida, game 2 versus the Devils, game 4 versus the Devils. So, yeah.
So,
Dominic is saying that right there.
yeah, I mean, this team feels great, man. Feels great. But yeah, we're gonna sign off. Thank you all for joining us here. We had over I think we had over like 220 in there at one point. So
Yep,
that was
Remember,
pretty cool.
guys, tune in tomorrow, 5:40.
5:40, 5:45 for Matt's favorite segment of layup talk.
Marc with some fresh layups right from the freezer.
Fresh layups from the freezer. Big Marc slapping those meaty layups to everybody.
Well, guys, thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. And I'll cut the stream out right over here. No need for a bye-bye. We will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
And join everybody on Rangers Central as well. Join them for their streams.
Yeah, Evan's doing his post-game stream right now, so make sure you guys hop over.
Yeah, hop over and join Evan on his stream. So go check that out.